Tottenham fans, stop blaming the New Year hangover for the last 4 days. Most people look at the 0-0 at Brentford and the 1-1 against Sunderland and see unlucky draws. They are wrong. This wasn't bad luck, it was a tactical surrender. By the end of this video, I'm going to reveal the one specific substitution pattern Thomas Frank is repeating that is actively inviting the opposition to take points off Spurs. We're going to look at the data that shows why Tottenham are currently the easiest big team to play against when you're 1-0 down, and I'll show you the hidden injury detail that has completely paralysed Frank's ability to kill games. The context here is sobering. It's January 5th, 2026. Spurs have just opened the year with 2 straight draws against teams they should be dominating if they want Champions League football. After a drab, scoreless affair at the G-Tech, Spurs came home to face a resilient Sunderland side. Ben Davies, starting only because of a massive injury crisis, gave Spurs the lead. For 50 minutes, they sat on it, and then Brian Brobby happened. The stadium erupted in boos at the final whistle, but the frustration isn't just about the results, it's about the boredom. Spurs currently rank 4th from bottom in the Premier League for expected goals, XG. Thomas Frank is under fire, but there is a crucial detail regarding the Africa Cup of Nations and a medical room nightmare that explains why the bench looks so thin. But as you'll see, the personnel isn't the only thing missing, the courage is too. The most obvious talking point is the missing firepower. No Xavier Simons, suspended, no Maddison, ACL, no Dominic Solanke, and no Dejan Kulusevski. That is effectively Spurs' entire creative engine room in the treatment room. But let's go a level deeper. Against Brentford, Spurs only managed 0.86 XG. Against Sunderland, they barely cleared 1.1. The immediate impact of these injuries is that Mohamed Kudus and Matisse Tel are being forced to do everything in isolation. The problem, without Maddison or Simons to find the pockets, Spurs are playing a U-shaped possession game, passing around the back and out to the wings, but never through the middle. The result, the opposition just has to sit in a compact block and wait. But here is where the story turns. It's not just that Spurs aren't creating, it's that they are actively choosing to stop trying the moment they get a lead. And the stats from the 60th to the 80th minute of the Sunderland game are damning. Reveal time. The real reason Spurs drew these games is risk aversion. Under Thomas Frank, Tottenham have become Brentford-ified in the worst way possible. Tactical consequences? Look at the Sunderland equalizer. At 1-0 up, Frank took off Wilson Odobert and Archie Gray, 2 players who progress the ball, and brought on João Palhinha and Lucas Bergvall. On paper, it's shoring up the midfield. In reality, it was a retreat signal. By bringing on a pure destroyer like Palhinha, Frank told Sunderland, "We are no longer interested in the second goal." Squad balance and competition. Because of the Africa Cup of Nations departures of Pape Matar Sarr and Yves Bissouma, Frank feels he has no choice but to protect the defence. This has created a lack of internal competition. Richarlison and Kolo Muani know they are starting by default, leading to a lack of intensity in the press. Long-term versus short-term, Frank is playing for stability to survive this injury crisis, but he's losing the fans in the process. The long-term implication is a gilded cage scenario where Spurs have the best stadium and the best facilities, but the football has become small-time and reactive. The truth is that Spurs are playing like a mid-table team trying to nick a result, rather than a giant imposing their will. This leads us to the moment that will define Thomas Frank's tenure at Tottenham. The defining question is Frank a system manager or a stature manager? A system manager sticks to the blueprint even when it's failing because he trusts the process. A stature manager realizes that at a club like Tottenham, boring is more dangerous than losing. Right now, Frank is choosing the safety of a 1-0 lead over the risk of a 3-0 win. If he continues to substitute attacking intent for defensive insurance every time he takes a lead, the boos at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will only get louder. He is currently facing a choice. Does he trust Tell and Kudus to kill games, or does he continue to invite pressure by retreating? One path leads to the top four, the other leads to the exit door. The final insight, the one I promised you, the real reason for the draws isn't the injuries, it's the 25 unforced errors Frank identified in the Brentford match that he failed to fix before Sunderland. Spurs are playing with a fear of the mistake that is causing them to make more mistakes. The boring tag is sticking because Frank is coaching the flair out of his players to compensate for a defence he doesn't fully trust without Bissouma. Watch the Bournemouth game on Wednesday. If Frank starts 3 holding midfielders again, we know the season is in survival mode rather than trophy mode. What do you think? Is Thomas Frank right to be boring until the stars return, or is he turning Spurs into a glorified Brentford?
Thank you.